The space station hung near a dying star, its metal skin glowing faint orange from the constant heat. It was not a military base. It was a transit hub, old and mostly forgotten, used by traders, engineers, and families moving between systems. No heavy weapons. No shields strong enough for war. That was why the alien fleet chose it. The attack came without warning. One moment, the station was quiet, filled with routine sounds of machines and low voices. The next, the void outside flashed with harsh blue light as alien ships tore out of faster-than-light travel. Sirens screamed. Lights flickered. The station shook as its outer defenses were erased in seconds. Alien soldiers poured through breached corridors. They were tall, armored, their movements sharp and efficient. They did not waste time. They stunned or killed anyone who resisted. Their orders were clear. Take control. Take prisoners. Find something useful. The alien commander watched everything from his flagship. His face was calm, cold, marked by years of conquest. He had crushed worlds stronger than this station. Humans were stubborn, yes, but predictable. Hurt their civilians, and their fleets would rush in without thinking. Fear was always the fastest weapon. "Bring me a living human," he ordered. "One that looks important enough." Down in the station's lower levels, a human woman ran through a narrow service corridor. Smoke filled the air. Emergency lights painted the walls red. She carried a small case in one hand and a tool belt around her waist. She was not a soldier. She wore no armor, only a plain dark uniform with no visible rank. She stopped at a sealed door and tried the panel. No power. Behind her, footsteps echoed. Heavy, not human. She turned slowly. An alien soldier stood at the end of the corridor, weapon raised. More shapes moved behind him. She did not scream. She did not run. She simply set the case on the floor and raised her hands. The soldier studied her for a second, then moved forward and stunned her with a sharp pulse of energy. Her body went limp before she hit the ground. Minutes later, she was dragged onto a transport craft along with a few other prisoners. Most were terrified, crying, begging in different languages. She was silent. When she woke, she was kneeling inside a cold metal chamber aboard the alien flagship. Energy restraints locked her arms behind her back. The room was dark except for a single white light above her. The alien commander entered, surrounded by guards. He looked at her like one might look at a broken tool, something to be used, then discarded. "You," he said through a translator device. "Identify yourself." Her face was calm, tired, but calm. "My name doesn't matter," she said. The commander's eyes narrowed slightly. Humans usually spoke too much when afraid. "Everything matters," he replied. "Especially now." He circled her slowly. "You were taken from the civilian station. That makes you valuable. Your kind reacts poorly to civilian losses." She said nothing. He stopped in front of her. "Who are you?" he demanded again. She sighed, as if the question bored her. With a small movement of her shoulders, she shifted, and something slipped from inside her uniform and fell onto the floor. A small card, dark gray, worn at the edges. The commander gestured, and a guard picked it up, handing it to him. It looked simple. No bright symbols, no obvious rank marks. Just text and a faded emblem that did not match any known human government insignia. "What is this?" the commander asked. "My identification," she said. He scanned it with a handheld device. The screen blinked, then showed an error. The commander frowned and tried again. Same result. "Primitive trick," he muttered. "It's not for you," she replied. That made him pause. He stepped closer, towering over her. "You are in no position to speak like that," he said. "You are a hostage. A tool." She met his gaze. "No," she said softly. "I'm a liability." The commander laughed once, a harsh sound. "Humans always think they are more important than they are." He turned to one of his officers. "Run a deeper scan. I want to know why her card doesn't register." The officer nodded and hurried out. The commander looked back at the woman. "You should be afraid," he said. "Your people will come. And when they do, I will broadcast your execution across every channel they use." She shook her head slightly. "They won't rush," she said. "They'll listen first." The commander leaned in, his face inches from hers. "And what will they hear?" "Confirmation," she replied. Before he could press further, the lights in the chamber flickered for just a second. Barely noticeable. The commander ignored it. "You will stay alive," he said, "for now." She nodded once, as if accepting something already decided. She was taken to a holding cell deeper in the ship. The restraints were replaced with a containment field. Transparent energy walls hummed softly around her. Hours passed. On the command deck, the officer returned, pale in color, breathing unevenly. "Commander," he said.
"There is an issue." The commander turned slowly. "The human identification," the officer continued.
"It does not exist in standard human records." "So it is fake," the commander snapped. "No," the officer said quietly. "It exists in restricted archives. Extremely restricted." The commander crossed his arms. "Explain." "The designation attached to the card is not civilian, military, or governmental," the officer said. "It links to a category marked Dormant Authority." The commander frowned. "That means nothing." "It means," the officer said, swallowing, "that the card is recognized by autonomous human defense systems. Systems that do not wait for orders." The commander scoffed. "Humans exaggerate their legends." Before the officer could respond, an alert sounded. A low tone. Long-range sensors. "Report," the commander ordered. An operator turned from his station. "Unidentified energy signatures detected," he said. "Multiple. They're not using known human travel methods." The commander's confidence wavered for the first time.
"How far?" he asked. "Too close," the operator replied.
"And still emerging?" The commander looked back toward the holding area where the human was kept. "Bring her to me," he said. "Now." The woman was escorted back into the chamber. She looked exactly the same as before. Calm. Still. "You lied," the commander said. "No," she answered. "I warned you." He slammed his fist against the control panel. "Call them off," he demanded. "Whatever signal you sent." "I didn't send anything," she said. "The moment my ID was scanned, the system did the rest." The commander stared at her, trying to find fear. There was none. "What are you?" he asked quietly. She considered the question. "Human," she said. "That's enough." Another alert rang out sharper this time. The ship vibrated slightly. "Commander!" an operator shouted. "The signals are forming a perimeter around us." The commander felt something unfamiliar twist in his chest. Not fear, not yet, but doubt. He looked at the small card still resting on the console. It was just a piece of metal. And yet, nothing in his long career had ever made his fleet react like this. The woman watched him, her eyes steady. "You should let me go," she said. The commander straightened. "No," he replied. "You are still my hostage." She gave a faint, almost sad smile. "That's what you think," she said. Outside the ship, space itself seemed to grow quiet, as if waiting. And the alien commander, conqueror of worlds, felt for the first time that he had taken something he did not understand. The human was moved to a secure chamber deeper within the alien flagship. The room was small, with metal walls and no windows. A single white light hummed quietly above. Her arms were no longer restrained by physical bonds, but energy fields kept her from leaving. Despite the confinement, she did not panic. She remained calm, watching the alien soldiers patrol outside. Every movement was careful, deliberate. She learned quickly which guards were more alert and which could be distracted. One soldier, tall and thin with greenish armor, paused longer than the others to look at her. She returned his gaze, unafraid. He looked away quickly, uncomfortable. Back on the command deck, the alien commander stood over a display showing the human identification card. He was not satisfied. Something about it gnawed at him. It should be meaningless, yet it had caused an alert from their long-range sensors. That should have been impossible. His systems were advanced, capable of scanning distant star systems and decoding almost any known civilization's technology. Yet the moment the card was scanned, an unknown protocol triggered across the flagship's systems. He did not understand how or why. The officer who had discovered the anomaly remained tense. "Commander, the archives show that this card belongs to a special human category. It is linked to authority that operates independently from normal human command structures." The commander frowned. "Explain that clearly." The officer hesitated. "It means that humans carrying this card are recognized by automated systems across human networks. If captured or threatened, these systems respond immediately. They do not ask for permission." The commander laughed, a short, sharp sound. "You are suggesting that one human can trigger a fleet? Impossible. Humans exaggerate." The officer did not respond. The long-range sensors began to flicker. Several readings appeared at once, approaching the flagship at high speed. The commander's fingers tapped impatiently on the console. "Identify!" "Identify!" he shouted. The operators scrambled. The screens showed multiple energy signatures. They were fast, unlike anything the aliens had seen before. They did not match normal human propulsion technology. Some of the readings disappeared and reappeared in different positions almost instantly. The commander's eyes narrowed. No human could move like that, he muttered. In the holding chamber, the human remained seated, her back straight. She could hear the hum of the alien systems and the occasional click of boots on metal floors. She closed her eyes briefly and whispered a word in a language the aliens could not understand. The air around her seemed to shift, subtle but noticeable to her trained senses. She did not panic. Everything was part of the plan. One of the younger alien officers entered the chamber, glancing nervously at her. "Human, tell us what you did," he demanded. She shook her head. "I did nothing. Your systems reacted on their own. You have underestimated us." The officer looked around, unsure what to do. The energy fields kept her contained, yet she seemed completely in control. He left quickly, returning to the command deck to report. The commander's face darkened as the reports multiplied. The unknown energy signatures were forming a pattern, surrounding the flagship. They were not attacking yet, but the formation was precise, deliberate. It was a trap, and he was the target. He turned to the officer who had first warned him. "Are you saying that one human can summon all of this?" The officer swallowed hard.
"Yes, Commander. Her identification is a key."
"Your fleet is being contained. You cannot escape." The commander stared at the main display. For decades he had conquered countless worlds, destroyed armies and broken civilizations. Yet now, with a single human in his custody, he felt powerless. The realization made his chest tighten. He had not expected humans to have such hidden strength. Back in the chamber, the human shifted slightly. She could feel the alien attention focused on her. She did not move, but she knew the moment would come when she would act. Patience was part of her training. Fear had no place here. The alien fleet outside was on high alert. Pilots scanned the void, trying to locate the source of the strange signals. Each attempt to engage the unknown vessels failed. Weapons misfired. Engines faltered. Navigation arrays refused to lock on targets. Confusion spread among the alien ranks. The commander's voice was sharp as he barked orders. "Calm the fleet! Identify every object! Fire only when I command. Do not fail." But even his voice could not mask the unease spreading across the deck. Meanwhile, the human in the chamber began a quiet routine. She closed her eyes and breathed steadily. Every system aboard the alien flagship seemed connected to her awareness, even if only indirectly. She was aware of the shifts in energy, the flickers in the hull, the nervous tension of the crew outside. She did not need to touch anything. Her presence, combined with the authority of the card she carried, was enough. A junior officer approached the commander. "Sir, additional vessels are entering from multiple vectors. They are cloaked, but sensors confirm mass signatures." He had never feared humans before. Now, fear settled in like a heavy weight. "How many?" he asked. "Too many to count," the officer replied. The commander took a deep breath. He realized the human hostage had not needed rescue. She was the signal, the trigger. His own fleet could not comprehend the technology and coordination humans had achieved. Every weapon, every sensor, every ship outside obeyed a system that humans had designed long ago. He had stumbled into a trap without realizing it. Inside her chamber, the human opened her eyes. She stared at the faint energy field holding her. It would not hold her for long, but she had no intention of breaking it herself. She waited for the moment when the aliens would realize that containment was meaningless. She did not need to act. The humans outside were already doing it for her. On the command deck, tension reached a breaking point. The unknown vessels moved with precision, forming patterns the aliens could not predict. The commander's voice was tight, demanding, but no one dared challenge the encroaching force. The officer who first discovered the ID spoke again. "Commander, this is not a bluff. If she is harmed, the entire system will respond. The card is recognized by autonomous protocols across human space. They do not negotiate. They do not retreat." The commander's hands clenched. He had taken a human hostage thinking it would give him power. Instead, it had put him at the mercy of a species he had underestimated. The panic he had avoided for decades now consumed him. Back in the chamber, the human leaned slightly forward. She whispered another word, quiet, almost inaudible. The alien sensors detected nothing unusual, but the subtle change resonated throughout their systems. Minor malfunctions began appearing. Lights flickered, displays glitched, and doors opened unexpectedly. The human was calm, almost serene, while chaos began to spread around her. The commander watched the main display. More vessels appeared, their movements precise and untraceable. The alien fleet attempted to respond, but every system seemed to reject commands. Weapons could not fire. Engines refused to engage. Communication arrays scrambled signals. The commander realized he had underestimated human ingenuity. His fleet, superior in numbers and technology, was paralyzed. The human sat quietly, observing everything. She was aware of the alien commander's gaze on her. He paced, shouting orders that could not be executed. His face betrayed frustration, fear, and disbelief. He had faced entire armies, yet here he was, trapped by a single human with a small identification card. Time stretched. The human did not move. She remained patient. Outside, the alien fleet trembled under the invisible pressure of human systems activating across light years. The commander's pride had blinded him. He had assumed humans were primitive, disorganized, predictable. He had been wrong. The human's presence alone had changed everything. She had not acted violently. She had not threatened. Yet her existence, combined with the authority of her card, had triggered a chain reaction across the void. Systems designed to respond without human intervention were now mobilizing, surrounding the alien fleet, containing it. The commander's plans were collapsing before he could react. Finally, the commander turned to the officer who had discovered the card. "Explain everything to me now," he demanded. "I want every detail of this protocol. I want to understand how one human can control this." The officer hesitated, then spoke quickly. "The card is a trigger. Humans created it to ensure that certain individuals, if captured, would automatically activate defenses across multiple networks. It does not matter if orders are ignored or not. The systems act independently. That is why the fleet cannot move, cannot fight. The card authorizes retaliation without delay." The commander's mind raced. He had assumed control, underestimated the enemy, and now his empire's response was blocked by the human. She had done nothing but exist, and yet everything depended on her. In her chamber, the human tilted her head, watching the flickering lights, the sudden glitches, the confusion of her captors. She remained calm, ready, knowing the humans outside were already executing precise maneuvers. There was no need for her to intervene directly. Her job was patience, observation, and trust in the systems that had been set in motion long before she had been captured. The alien commander gripped the console, staring at the human. You have trapped me with nothing but a card in your presence?" he asked, disbelief in his voice. She looked up, meeting his gaze steadily. "I am not the trap," she said softly. "The systems are. I am simply part of the process. Your mistakes were never about me. They were about underestimating us."
The commander's chest tightened.
Fear mingled with frustration. For the first time, he understood the scope of human ingenuity. For the first time, he realized that capturing a single human could mean losing control of his fleet. Outside, unknown vessels continued their precise maneuvers, invisible to most of the alien sensors. The human's calm and the automated systems she represented created a silent, unstoppable pressure. Every alien soldier from the bridge to the lowest deck felt the tension. Commands were ignored, systems failed, and panic began to ripple through the crew. The human remained seated, serene and unafraid. She had become the center of a chain reaction that would change the course of this conflict. She had not lifted a weapon. She had not shouted or demanded. She had only been human. And in that she held a power the alien commander could not understand and could not resist. The commander's pride had been shattered. He had underestimated one human, and that single miscalculation had begun to unravel his entire fleet. He looked at the human, at her calm expression, at the worn identification card still resting on the console, and for the first time he felt something he had never known in his long career: true fear. The alien commander paced the command deck, his armor clanking softly with each step. His fleet, once a symbol of absolute power, now felt fragile and uncertain. The human remained deep within the ship, calm and still, her presence alone challenging everything he believed. The signals surrounding the fleet continued to grow, forming a precise pattern that neither he nor his officers could understand. Each vessel in the alien armada tried to respond, but every system faltered. Weapons failed. Engines stalled. Communications scrambled. The commander's frustration mounted. He summoned his senior officers. "Tell me exactly what these signals are," he demanded. "Why is my fleet paralyzed?" A young officer, visibly shaken, spoke. "Commander, the human you captured has activated a system embedded in human space. It is not alive like a pilot. It does not think. It follows commands built long ago, designed to respond to threats without orders. Your fleet is caught within it." The commander slammed his fist against the console. "This is impossible. One human cannot do this." The officer's voice was steady despite the tension. "It is not just the human, sir. The card she carries acts as a key. It authorizes human systems to respond automatically to her capture. The systems know exactly where every ship is, every weapon, every weak point. Your fleet cannot escape." The commander turned toward the display showing the human in the secure chamber. She sat quietly, her back straight, her eyes calm. She was not struggling. She was not pleading. She simply existed, and that was enough to disrupt his entire operation. He could see now that he had been foolish to underestimate humanity. On the human side, she closed her eyes briefly and listened. The ship hummed around her. She could sense the tension, the panic that rippled through the alien crew. Her training allowed her to read the smallest shifts in energy, the subtlest changes in vibration. She knew exactly when the first waves of human response would arrive. Suddenly, the chamber's energy fields flickered. A door she had never noticed opened slightly. She did not move. She remained still, waiting for the right moment. Outside, the alien soldiers were distracted by the alerts flooding their systems. One soldier approached to check the chamber, but as he stepped inside, a small device on the human's belt activated remotely. The door sealed shut again, and the soldier froze, trapped outside but unable to warn anyone effectively. The commander's voice boomed across the deck. "Status report." Operators scrambled. "Sir, the fleet outside is being surrounded. Vessels we cannot detect with standard scans are positioning themselves. Weapons cannot target them accurately. Engines will not respond to commands. It is as if the ships are being guided by something invisible. The commander's face went pale. He had faced entire armies before, yet he had never felt so powerless. He had taken a human hostage thinking it would give him leverage, yet that single act had turned into a trap of his own making. His entire fleet was contained, immobilized by systems he could not understand. The human in her chamber opened her eyes. She watched the energy field hum around her. It would hold her for a time, but she did not need to escape. The human fleets outside were executing maneuvers she had authorized long ago, silently and precisely. She was the center of a network she had never touched directly. Her role was observation and patience. The alien commander turned to the officer who had discovered the card.
Explain everything again, slowly.
I need to understand. The officer's hands shook. The card is part of a human emergency protocol. It is designed for situations exactly like this. If a human with this identification is captured, human fleets respond immediately and autonomously. They act without orders. They follow pre-programmed strategies. Your fleet cannot fight back because every command is countered automatically. The commander's mind raced. He had assumed humans were weak, predictable, and easily frightened. Now he realized how wrong he had been. The entire armada was immobilized by a single human, sitting quietly in a chamber deep within his flagship. Alarms continued to sound across the ship. Energy fields flickered. Power grids hummed under stress. The alien crew moved frantically, trying to regain control, but their efforts were futile. Every action was countered, every command overridden by systems they could not see or understand. The commander's pride crumbled under the weight of his own mistakes. The human tilted her head slightly. She sensed the alien commander's fear. He had believed himself invincible. Now he was trapped. She did not gloat. She did not speak. She simply remained calm, letting the chaos unfold around her. She had been trained for patience. She knew the human fleets outside were already doing everything she needed them to do. The commander shouted orders, but no one obeyed effectively. Weapons locked, engines stalled, communications failed. The human systems had anticipated every move, every attempt to escape. The commander realized he had underestimated human ingenuity, discipline, and coordination. One human with a simple identification card had turned his entire fleet into prisoners. The human remained seated, observing the energy fluctuations, the trembling hull, the panic in the alien crew. She knew that the final moment would come soon. She had only to wait. The humans outside were closing in, methodical and silent, leaving no space for mistakes. She had triggered something far greater than herself. On the command deck, the commander stared at the main display. He had faced countless enemies, conquered entire civilizations, yet he had never felt such helplessness. He had taken a human hostage, believing it would give him control, but he had misjudged completely. The human's presence alone had activated a network that paralyzed his fleet. Every system he relied on had turned against him, silently, perfectly. The human closed her eyes again, feeling the rhythm of the ship and the subtle vibrations of the fleet outside. She whispered quietly in a language the aliens could not understand. Energy patterns shifted around her chamber. Doors, sensors, and control panels reacted subtly, as if the ship itself recognized her authority. She did not need to touch anything. The systems responded to her presence. The commander's hands tightened into fists. He had always relied on brute strength and technology to achieve victory. Now he faced a human who wielded neither, yet controlled everything around her. Fear seeped into his thoughts, mingling with frustration and disbelief. He had miscalculated, underestimated, and now he was trapped. Outside the flagship, unknown vessels moved with silent precision. They formed patterns that surrounded the alien fleet, controlling its movements without firing a single shot. The human's card had authorized automated retaliation, and it was executing flawlessly. Every alien vessel, from the smallest scout to the largest warship, was contained within an invisible cage they could not see. The human leaned slightly forward, sensing the shift in energy around her. The alien commander's face appeared in her vision through the chamber's security monitor. He was shouting orders, demanding reports, trying to regain control, but nothing worked. She remained calm, observing, knowing the humans outside were already completing their mission. Alarms screamed. Lights flickered. The alien officers moved frantically. The commander's pride had been shattered. His fleet, once a symbol of unstoppable power, was immobilized by a single human who had done nothing but exist, who had not lifted a weapon or shouted a command. The human tilted her head again, listening to the faint hum of the ship, feeling the subtle vibrations of the alien vessels outside. She knew that the moment for direct action was not hers yet. Patience had always been her greatest weapon. She could wait, watch, and trust that the systems she had activated long ago were already executing the precise plan she needed. The alien commander stood frozen, staring at the display showing the human. His mouth moved, but no words came out. He had conquered countless worlds, crushed armies, yet here he was, powerless. He had taken a human hostage, believing it would give him leverage, and instead he had triggered his own defeat. Inside the chamber, the human remained seated, calm and steady. She knew her role. She had been trained to observe, to wait, and to trust in the systems humans had built. She had not acted violently. She had not needed to. Her presence alone had set in motion forces beyond the alien commander's comprehension. She was not just a human. She was the key. And the alien commander was beginning to understand, too late, that keys could unlock more than doors. They could change the course of wars. The alien flagship was surrounded. Unknown vessels appeared from multiple directions, moving silently and precisely, unseen by normal sensors. The human in the secure chamber remained calm, seated, observing. She was aware of everything: the trembling of the hull, the flicker of lights, the tension in the alien officer's movements. She did not need to act yet. The humans outside were already executing every part of the plan she had set in motion long before her capture. The commander stood on the deck, his face pale under the harsh lighting. His fleet was trapped, paralyzed by systems he could not see or understand. The human card had triggered responses he could not predict. Every ship, every weapon, every navigation system of his armada was now vulnerable to forces beyond his comprehension. He had underestimated humans, and now he paid the price. He turned to the officer who had first explained the card's purpose. Explained every detail. "I want to understand the full extent of this system." The officer's hands shook slightly as he spoke. The identification card is a key to autonomous human defense networks. If a human with this card is captured, the networks respond immediately. They do not ask permission. They do not negotiate. They do not wait. Every system is activated simultaneously to contain, neutralize, and disable hostile forces. Your fleet is caught within these automated protocols. Nothing you do can override them. The commander's mind raced. He had always relied on numbers, technology, and brute force to control battles. Now, he faced a species that had prepared for every contingency, a species that could respond without hesitation or delay. One human, carrying a simple identification card, had immobilized his entire fleet. Inside the chamber, the human observed the subtle changes in energy, the minor fluctuations in the ship's power systems, and the slight tremors in the walls. She whispered quietly, almost to herself, in a language the aliens could not understand. Doors shifted, sensors adjusted, and small systems reacted to her presence. She did not need to fight. Her calm presence, combined with the human networks outside, was already achieving everything needed. The alien crew scrambled to regain control. They attempted to override the automated responses, but every command failed. Weapons locked, engines stalled, communications were jammed. The fleet outside moved like an invisible cage, surrounding the flagship with precise coordination. The commander shouted, but his orders went unheeded. Panic spread among the officers. The human tilted her head slightly, listening to the subtle vibrations of the ship and the movements of the alien fleet. She could sense fear, confusion, and frustration. The alien commander had believed himself invincible. But now he realized the truth. Humans were not to be underestimated. Her presence, combined with the authority of the identification card, had shown the full extent of human preparation and strategy. Outside, the human fleets continued their silent maneuvers. Ships appeared from multiple vectors, moving with precision, leaving no gaps. Each vessel was coordinated through the autonomous networks, responding without delay to any attempt by the aliens to escape or fight back. The alien fleet, though technologically advanced, was trapped within a system it could not comprehend. The commander watched helplessly as his once powerful armada was contained. He had relied on fear, intimidation, and superior firepower, but none of it mattered now. One human, sitting quietly in a secure chamber, had turned the entire conflict upside down. He felt the weight of his mistakes pressing down on him, a sensation he had never experienced before. The human shifted slightly, her eyes scanning the flickering displays of the alien systems. She did not move to break the energy fields around her. She did not raise a weapon. Her role was observation and patience. The humans outside were already carrying out the actions she had authorized long ago. She had become the silent trigger for an unstoppable chain reaction. The commander barked orders again, demanding status reports, trying to regain control. Officers responded with fragmented data, explaining that weapons could not fire, engines would not engage, and communications were jammed. The unknown vessels outside maintained perfect formation, containing his fleet and cutting off any chance of escape. Every action the aliens attempted was anticipated and countered by systems they could not see. Inside the chamber, the human remained calm, aware of the precise moment when her involvement would be necessary. She could feel the tension in the alien crew, the fear growing in the commander. He had believed he controlled the situation, but he was wrong. Humans had prepared for this. One human, carrying a simple identification card, had shown him the limits of his power. The officer who had discovered the card spoke again, his voice tight with fear. "Commander, if the human is harmed, the systems outside will escalate further. They will not negotiate. They will not retreat. Our entire fleet is at risk." The commander clenched his fists, staring at the human on the display. He realized the full scope of the threat. He had captured what he thought was a simple civilian, but in reality he had taken a key to humanity's most advanced defenses. Every vessel, every weapon, every system in the human networks was responding automatically, perfectly coordinated, and unstoppable. The human leaned slightly forward, sensing the subtle changes in energy around her. The alien commander's panic was evident. He had never faced a situation where his power meant nothing. He had assumed humans were weak and predictable, but now he knew otherwise. One human had immobilized his entire fleet without firing a single shot. The unknown vessels outside moved with silent precision, tightening the containment around the alien flagship. Every attempt to escape was met with an immediate and coordinated response. The human inside the chamber did not need to act directly. She was the trigger, the focus of the human networks executing their plan flawlessly. The commander's pride had been shattered. He had always relied on his fleet, his technology, and his intimidation to control battles. Now, he was powerless. The human's calm presence, combined with the authority of the identification card, had shown him the limits of his understanding. He had underestimated humans, and it had cost him control over his entire fleet. Inside her chamber, the human remained seated, observing, waiting. She could sense the invisible networks moving, guiding the human vessels outside, countering every alien action. She had done nothing yet, had achieved everything. Patience had always been her greatest weapon. She did not need to act violently. The systems she had triggered were already executing the plan perfectly. The commander stared at the display, at the human sitting calmly in the chamber, and finally understood the truth. He had been defeated not by numbers, not by technology, but by preparation, strategy, and the unyielding resolve of a single human. Fear, frustration, and disbelief filled him. He had believed himself unstoppable, yet here he was, trapped, powerless, and facing the consequences of underestimating humanity. The human's eyes scanned the energy fluctuations and the movements of the alien fleet. She whispered quietly, sensing the moment when her role would be complete. She did not need to intervene. The humans outside were already executing every necessary action. She was the key, and the alien commander was learning too late the true power of a single human when combined with the systems they had built and the preparation they had planned for decades. The alien flagship shuddered as the surrounding unknown vessels moved with precise coordination, cutting off every route of escape. Alarms rang across the ship, lights flickered, and the alien crew scrambled desperately to regain control. The human in the secure chamber remained calm, seated, observing everything. She did not panic, did not shout, and did not make sudden movements. Her presence alone, combined with the authority of her identification card, had immobilized the alien fleet and activated human systems across space. The commander stood on the deck, his hands clenched tightly. His face was pale under the harsh lighting. He had conquered countless worlds, crushed armies, and broken civilizations. Yet here he was, trapped, unable to command his own fleet. One human, carrying a simple card, had turned the entire conflict against him. Fear, frustration, and disbelief filled him. He had underestimated humanity, and now the consequences were irreversible. He turned to his officers, demanding explanations, but every system they relied on had been disrupted. Weapons could not fire, engines would not respond, and communications were jammed. The human systems outside had anticipated every action and countered them automatically. Every command he gave failed. His fleet, once a symbol of dominance, was immobilized, contained by a force he could neither see nor understand. Inside the chamber, the human leaned slightly forward, sensing the subtle changes in energy around her. The vibrations of the ship, the flickering of lights, and the trembling of the hull all told her what she needed to know. The alien commander's panic was evident. He had believed himself invincible, but now he realized humans were prepared for situations he could never anticipate. Her calm presence, combined with the automated human networks outside, had already accomplished everything necessary. The officer who had discovered the identification card spoke again, his voice tense. "Commander, if she is harmed, the human networks will escalate. They will not negotiate. They will not retreat. Our entire fleet is at risk."
The commander's chest tightened.
He had always relied on intimidation, technology, and numbers to control battles. Now he faced a species that acted without hesitation, without orders, and without fear. He had captured a human thinking it would give him leverage, but instead he had triggered an unstoppable response. His pride had been shattered, and his fleet paralyzed. Outside, the human fleets moved silently and with precision. Every vessel was coordinated through autonomous networks, responding instantly to any alien attempt to fight back or escape. The alien fleet could not move, could not respond effectively, and could not comprehend the systems acting against them. One human, sitting quietly in a chamber, had activated an unstoppable chain reaction. The human tilted her head, observing the alien commander and his officers. Their fear, frustration, and confusion were obvious. He had assumed humans were weak and predictable, yet here he was, powerless, trapped by systems he could not see. She did not need to act violently. Her calm presence and the authority of the identification card had already achieved what weapons could not. The commander shouted orders, but they were meaningless. The systems outside anticipated every command, every attempt to maneuver, every effort to fire. The alien fleet was caught in a perfect trap.
The commander's mind raced. He had underestimated humans, and now he was witnessing the consequences firsthand.
His pride, his fleet, and his sense of control were all gone. He had learned, too late, that humans did not respond like other civilizations he had conquered. Inside the chamber, the human closed her eyes briefly. She sensed the final stage of the operation approaching. The fleets outside moved in perfect synchronization, leaving no gaps, no weaknesses. The alien vessels were contained, and every attempt to act independently was neutralized. Her role was observation and patience, and she had executed it perfectly. The humans outside carried out the action she had authorized long ago, responding automatically and without hesitation. The commander stood frozen, staring at the human. His voice trembled as he finally understood the truth. "One human has trapped us all," he whispered. "One human and a card." The human opened her eyes and looked directly at the commander, calm and unwavering. "I am not the trap," she said softly. "The system is. I am only part of it." "You underestimated us. That was your mistake." The commander's hands clenched. He had always relied on strength, numbers, and technology to win. Now he faced a species that had prepared for every contingency, a species that could respond automatically, instantly, and without fear. He had captured a human thinking it would give him control, and instead he had triggered the defeat of his fleet. Outside, the unknown vessels moved silently, completing their containment of the alien fleet. Every weapon was disabled, every engine stalled, every communication line jammed. The alien fleet was paralyzed, unable to resist. The human systems, triggered by the identification card, executed their plan flawlessly. The alien commander's pride and control were gone. Inside the chamber, the human remained calm, observing, knowing her role was complete. She had not fired a weapon, shouted a command, or taken direct action. Her presence, combined with the automated human networks, had immobilized an entire fleet. Patience had been her greatest weapon. She had waited, observed, and trusted the systems humans had built long ago. The commander sank into a chair, his face pale. His fleet was trapped. His weapons were useless. His pride was shattered. He had underestimated a single human, and that mistake had cost him everything. He had believed himself unstoppable, yet here he was, powerless and defeated. The human tilted her head, sensing the final confirmation of the operation. The alien fleet was contained. The unknown vessels outside had completed their maneuvers, leaving no room for escape. Every attempt to regain control had failed. The commander's arrogance, his assumptions, and his underestimation of humanity had led to this moment. The human stood, stretching slightly, and looked at the energy field that had contained her. She did not need to escape. The humans outside had completed the task. She had done her part. The alien commander, once confident and commanding, now understood the full extent of human preparation and strategy. One human, a simple identification card, and decades of planning had changed the course of the conflict. The alien commander remained in his chair, staring at the human. Fear, disbelief, and frustration filled him. He had conquered countless civilizations, yet one human had outmaneuvered him without a single shot. The human systems outside had neutralized his fleet, contained his forces, and ensured his defeat. He had underestimated humans, and now he would live with the consequences. The human in the chamber stepped forward, her presence calm and steady. She had completed her role. She had been patient, observant, and prepared. The human fleets outside had executed their orders flawlessly, containing and neutralizing the alien forces. She had done nothing directly, yet everything had been accomplished. Humanity had won without a single human lifting a weapon in this room. The commander finally whispered, almost to himself, "I underestimated them. I underestimated humanity." The human nodded slightly. She did not gloat. She did not speak further. The mission was complete. The human networks had acted. Her presence had triggered them, and the alien commander had learned the hard way the limits of his assumptions. Humanity did not seek domination, but anyone who underestimated them would face consequences beyond comprehension. Outside the flagship, the unknown vessels began to retreat, their mission complete. Every alien vessel remained contained, powerless to resist. Inside the chamber, the human sat once more, calm and steady. She had triggered events that ensured victory without direct action. Her role was finished, and she had done it perfectly. The commander's fleet was immobilized, his pride shattered, and his understanding of humans forever changed. One human, a simple identification card, and a network of systems had altered the balance of power across space. The human in the chamber had done nothing but exist, and that existence had been enough to break the alien commander and his fleet. Humanity had proven itself, silently, decisively, and without compromise.